Can you learn violin at home? Yes, you can. It's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see if I can do this without a script. Hi, welcome to my channel. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I've gotten better at talking at the camera because I now stream on Twitch 3 times a week. Oh my gosh, this is so much easier talking to the camera. Anyways, I'm here to answer one of the most popular questions that I get on Twitch and I don't have time to answer. In the meantime, I'm gonna ask you to like this video, share it to whoever might want to know this information, and subscribe so you get more, sporadic videos like this and not so sporadic covers. Let's move on to the question that I get. Sit down a little bit better here. And that is, learn violin at home without a teacher. It's a loaded question. I was thinking about how to answer this. Technically, you can learn anything at home without a teacher. There are a lot of people that are self-taught in a whole bunch of different areas. Having a teacher will help things along. So as long as you go into it knowing that it could be faster with a teacher. So I understand why some people might be asking this. It's because you either don't have the money for it or you don't have a teacher nearby. Maybe you did go to lessons and it just was like awful. Maybe you really didn't like the teacher that you had a trial with and you don't want to do it again. Maybe you have social anxiety and like you can kind of play by yourself and then you go in front of a teacher and then you're just like, that actually happens to everyone. Everyone plays better in their practice room and they go to the lesson and then they're just like, this was much better at home. So that happens to everyone. So if it's that kind of anxiety, see if you can't get past it. Or maybe you used to take violin lessons like years ago and you took all those lessons and you learned all the stuff and you're like, I don't really want to go back to a teacher. Can I relearn violin without a teacher? Any one of those reasons, like it makes sense. I'll approach the beginners first. You want to be careful when you're practicing at home and trying to learn violin at home without a teacher because it's likely you're going to develop bad habits, either because you don't know what to look for, or maybe something feels comfortable in the moment. It feels comfortable and you're like, okay, this feels good. It's great, whatever, but you don't realize that you're holding tension in your arms, or you don't realize that even though it's comfortable, once you get into more difficult technique, it's going to cause problems. And once you learn something and get used to it, the muscle memory is there and it is very hard to unlearn it and fix. So keep that in mind. Again, not saying that you can't learn violin without a teacher, but these are things to keep in mind if you're going to go ahead and do that. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of times you're going into violin without a teacher thinking, well, I just want to learn how to play this piece or that piece or whatever. And a teacher will know the techniques that you need to get there and you won't. So it's just going to take longer. Anyways, now that I've thoroughly discouraged you, I do have some tips. First of all, accountability. Keep yourself accountable. In any sort of teacher-student relationship, the teacher is mostly there, honestly, for accountability. Like, there are things that teacher will give you, things that you can't find out anywhere else. But like, I mean, why do people go to personal training for years and years and years? It's not that after years you can't do it by yourself. It is the accountability. You don't have to think about it. The teacher thinks about it for you. Do what you need to do to stay accountable. Hold on, something's distracting me. Something's distracting me. Okay, the thing that was distracting me is not on screen anymore, so I'm good. Accountability. So just keep yourself accountable. You can do that in a whole bunch of different ways. One thing that you can do is just get a journal out or get like one of those little apps out, like a to-do app thing, or put it in your calendar and you have to mark it off or something. But just try on practicing. My rule of thumb, especially for beginners, is just five times a week. Practice 5 times a week. Start out with 15 minutes and then go to 20 minutes. And just have a chart somewhere. Have one of those calendars on your wall. If you don't have a calendar to put on your wall, just get a sheet of paper or something and just make sure you tally mark how many times you practice throughout the week. If you don't practice often, it isn't gonna stick. That's just the way it is. Like, I can relate because I'm trying to pick up piano now after years and years of being away from it. And of course, after years, like my fingers don't want to go where I want them to go. And I've been trying to practice every single day, and every single day that I get on the piano, it comes back quicker. It's a lot easier for me to do things that I tried to do last week and I absolutely failed. Now, I do also notice that when I take a day off, it's a little bit more fuzzy the day after. So keep that in mind. Do take those 2 rest days though, because it's just, you don't want an injury. Just don't get an injury. There are some days where you will practice every single day, but and I'm not discouraging practicing every single day. I practiced every day for a very, very, very long time, but especially for just starting out, you want to learn kind of what those muscles feel like after you've been practicing. You kind of want to test your own body a little bit. So just take those 2 rest days. If you are very, very aware of your body and what you feel like when you're okay versus not okay, then by all means practice every single day. But I would say that at least 5 days a week. Just make sure to do that. All right, so second tip that I have is you're going to have to do a lot of leg work outside of practicing. So a lot of the research and experience that teachers usually provide for you in the cost of a lesson, you are going to have to do that on your own. And the one thing that you're lacking is the experience of being a violinist and being a teacher. So try to get a hold of as many resources as possible. I'm going to link a couple of helpful resources in the description box down below to help you, in particular with repertoire and etudes and scale books. So a lot of times people will ask me like, what books should I practice? What etudes should I do? What scales should I do? Or if you're a complete beginner, like what violin do I buy? Or, what book do I start with first that teaches me how to do all of this and all of that? I will link some resources down below that hopefully will help you. There are, what's it called? There's like the Royal Academy thing. Look it up. They're practical violin exams. It's what, ABRSM? Is this it? Yes, this is it. I'm not affiliated with them at all. Obviously, I don't even know what their name is. It's abrsm.org, and it's practical violin exams. You don't have to take the exams, but what they do is provide you with syllabuses should you want to take exams and get certified as a violinist. Basically, I've heard of students basically taking these certifications so they can say what level of violinist they are, and it goes from 1 to 8. And they provide you with a syllabus as well as requirements for the exams. And so if you are a beginner, you would go to level 1 and you would see basically a list of repertoire that you could practice that might be at your level. If you are an intermediate and you're trying to find repertoire that would work for you and you just haven't been looking at violin repertoire in so long and you don't even know what to look at, then I would go there and look at the different grades and see where you might fit in, right? If you go to a teacher, you have to kind of play 1 or 2 lessons for them to get a really good grasp of what you can do, what you can't do. Also keeping in mind the fact that when you're playing for them, you're probably anxious and you're like, huh, and you mess up more. And so they probably think that you're not as good as you really are. Then I would go there, kind of see where you fit, and then pick some pieces from there. They have a really long list of pieces that you can do. There's a lot of other lists, like a progression of violin etudes, a progression of violin repertoire in general from very easy to very difficult. I will also link those down below. So if you're just looking for etudes to help supplement your playing, or if you're looking for just something you've never played before, maybe you are intermediate advanced and you aren't looking to get better, but you're just wanting to maintain, and you are just running out of things to play and you're not sure what to do next, and you don't really care if what you're going to play next is easy. If you look up at the violin repertoire down below, it is probably going to help you find something you've not played before, but that is still kind of mainstream violin stuff. I mean, I guess you can always like look up on Wikipedia and just look up violin solo, and then you end up with an entire list of stuff that takes hours to sift through, and half of them are things that you've not ever heard before, which if that's what you're looking for, then great. Do it. I usually like playing stuff that I've either heard before, I'm familiar with, because that kind of gets me excited to play. And then I can also find recordings to listen to and play with them. And yeah, so whatever really gets you motivated. All right, so 2 It still has to do with the fact that you have to do legwork on your own, but this is moving past repertoire, and this is more into technique, and kind of fixing those bad habits or preventing bad habits that I mentioned earlier. And the thing that I would say would help the most is having a community. Nowadays, you can have a very large community, even if you live out in the middle of nowhere, because of the internet. So if you're watching this video, then chances are you probably have access to internet and online groups. I will also link down below online violin groups on Facebook that are incredibly useful. So one of them is the Violin Guild that's on Facebook. It has like a very, very, very large population of violinists. Some of them that are just learning, some of them that are teachers. I'm a member over there. And what I'll notice is some people will take videos of themselves playing and being like, I have bow shakes. How do I fix bow shakes? I don't know if I'm holding my bow correctly. Can someone help me out here? I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. I don't know if I put the violin finger tape stickers on correctly. Can someone help me? And what's really cool is tons of people will comment to the point where I'll go and look to see like, oh, I can answer the. It's already been answered thoroughly. There's no point in me saying anything because they're covered. So that is something that you can do. Another thing that you can do is join my Discord. I have a channel that is called Violin Help, at which point you can take a video, put it up, or ask me specifically what the problem is, and then maybe we can figure something out and see if I can't help you. But I would definitely get a community somehow, either if it's another friend that plays a violin, but get someone else to look at your playing to see what am I doing wrong? Can you help me? Can you fix this? Do you know what it is that's causing this? Getting a second pair of eyes is good. Moving on to number 3, if you cannot find a second pair of eyes, the best way to teach yourself is record yourself. I highly, highly recommend recording yourself. I haven't taken a lesson since 3 years ago. Last lesson I took was 3 years ago, and something I've done since then to improve my playing has been recording myself. I record myself a lot. I will play scales in front of a camera. I'll do long tones in front of a camera. I'll play through something in front of a camera. And I'll put that camera at different angles, like whether it's right here in front of my scroll. It's maybe better if I show you like this, so you can see all the way down the fingerboard, or if it's like this to see if the bow is parallel to the bridge. And what I recommend doing is look at the video, watch the video multiple times, and look at different areas of your playing. Look at your bow hand, look at your shoulder, look at your elbow, look at your left hand, look at your elbow, look at your neck, look at the space in between your neck and the violin. You can learn a lot from this. Sometimes bow shakes is because of your elbow placement, or it might be because of your hand, it might be because you're way too stiff. I've had students before where in the middle of a really difficult passage, they went from holding the bow to like this to all of a sudden they were doing this during the hard part. This is just like a random reaction of you getting really stressed and tense, and you kind of clench, and then these fingers come off, but these fingers really, really help, you know? And so I'll mention, did you notice that your fingers came off? I had no idea. I had no idea. If you record yourself doing something simple like long tones or scales, or even just, if you really are committed to really teaching yourself and you really want to turn each practice session into a lesson, then record the entire practice session and then watch it back and take notes. This kind of goes back into the fact that you will have to be doing a lot of the legwork yourself. And it's a lot of extra time, but you are the one that's going to be watching the videos, taking notes, and then you have to go back and try to implement them and see if you can catch yourself doing it in the act. which basically is like a back and forth Zoom lesson, essentially. I will say, though, that if you manage to do this successfully and you spend time either asking lots of questions from professionals that are willing to give you their help and opinion, like in those community groups, or just by studying other violinists, I'll get to this probably next, you are going to get very, very far, actually, because if you can figure out how to teach yourself and you can keep yourself accountable, then, I mean, most of the work happens during practice anyways. The lessons just kind of steer you in the right direction. But if you can be really accountable and do that for yourself every single day, then you will continuously be going in the right direction. I've talked about accountability, recording yourself, the repertoire, goals, right? Goals. Make sure you have a goal for yourself, not just, I kind of want to learn to play violin good. Have a goal for yourself. One is a short-term goal and then a long-term goal. Then you can kind of figure out what you need to do from there. So if your long-term goal is, I just want to learn to play the song, and this song is, you found the sheet music for it and you don't have to go up in position or anything, you don't have to do anything crazy, then that kind of tells you, okay, I need to practice these scales, not the ones that go up in position. I don't need to learn introducing the positions. I don't need to learn this and this and that. I just need this. And I just want to learn this song. That's it. I don't want to do anything crazy. I just want to learn this song. Figure out what key it's in. If it's in something like D major, great. That's really, really great for the violin. Just practice that scale. Just practice the thing that's going to help you get there. And then you're done. Well, not done. That's a very, very pared down version of practicing for a very small, focused goal. If you have a much bigger goal, then break that goal down into little bits. So, maybe in 2 months, you want to be done with this song. Give yourself 1 or 2 weeks to practice each page. Give yourself a month or 2 months to practice maybe a bigger piece. Give yourself 6 months to finish a particular violin book, so that you're not sitting and doing the same things for an entire year and you can actually feel like you're making progress. Another thing in terms of mini goals, try to set up a performance for yourself. Like, it can be a Zoom performance. Everyone's streaming nowadays. So find a streaming platform and invite your friends and family and be like, I know this might not be your thing, but it means a lot to me. And I have been practicing a lot. I've been teaching myself, and I would really love to play for you. And just stream it. If you don't want to rent out a place or play in your living room, just stream it, and you can have a goal that you set for yourself. Goals are important, and unless you set goals, and if not deadlines, then a lot of people might not actually ever even get started or even go ahead and do it. Last thing I feel like I should cover is maybe equipment. If you are not so sure that violin is the thing that you want to do, and you're just kind of like, I want to play an instrument, but I don't know, or I do want to play violin, but I don't know if I can really keep it up or whatever, then don't buy one. Rent one for 1 month. If it's something that you think you are going to stick with, after renting, then buy one. Just because if you buy one, I mean, yes, you can always sell it again. People kind of end up not. But if you rent one, you spend a relatively small amount of money, and you get to try it out. And then if you don't like it, you can just return it, and then you're done. You don't have to buy all the stuff. Also, if something goes wrong with the rental, the shop or the person that you rented it from should be doing the fixing, which also helps on costs. I will also link down below violins from Amazon that you might be able to work with. Sharmusic.com is a website I very highly recommend. Most likely anything you get from there is going to be good quality for the price. If a violin comes to your house and it is like $150, right, on the lower end of violins, I know that's crazy to say, but 150 is on the lower end of violins. And it comes and everything is kind of like the bridge is like knocked over, the strings are not even on, or the strings are really loose, and things just kind of look weird and you don't know what to do. Take it to a violin shop. The amount of money that it costs to get it set up is actually less expensive than you think, or call someone to help you. I've seen a lot of reviews on websites that sell violins where a violin got a 1 star for something that a shop could have done that just happens during shipping, or just that happens to violins in general. Like, violins get shipped in all sorts of weather, and they usually don't come in airtight cases, at least not the ones that are that price range. And things happen. It has nothing to do with the violin quality itself. It just has to do with, it's a traditional instrument. You have to set it up again. I feel like I talked so quickly. I hope I covered it all. Can you learn violin at home? Yes, you can. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie. In short, yes, you can learn violin at home. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to kind of be a little bit obsessed with it for a little bit, just to make sure you're learning the right technique, to make sure you have all the right information. You are going to have to ask for help. Even though you're not learning from a teacher, you are still going to have to find a community that you can actually ask help. I think that's it. If there is something I didn't cover, please let me know. If you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments down below. You can do it. You can do it. If you are really committed, I'm convinced that if you're really determined, you can honestly do anything. You just have to put in the work. So if you put in the work, I think you can do it. But if you practice 10 minutes a day and you don't do your research, then it's not going to work out very well, pretty much. That's the short answer. Anyways, leave a comment down below with any other questions that you have. I will try to answer them in the comments as I receive them. If I get a lot of repeats of the same comment, then I will go ahead and do another video. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.